Mikketz at the end. Bereshit, Genesis 41:1 to 44:17. Haftarah, Malachim Alef, 1 Kings 3:15 to 4:1. Dorit Hadashah suggested, Acts 7:9 to 16, specifically verses 11 and 12. Vayehi miketz shnatayim yamim uFaro cholem vehine omed al hayaor. At the end of 2 years, Pharaoh had a dream. He was standing beside the Nile River. Introduction. Torah. The Parsha begins with the story of the dreams that Pharaoh had, which he presented to all the magicians of Egypt and all its wise men, and who could not satisfy his need to know what they meant. From the first verse, it continues. There came up out of the river 7 cows, sleek and fat, and they began feeding in swamp grass. After them there came up out of the river 7 more cows, miserable looking and lean, and they stood by the other cows at the edge of the river. Then the miserable looking and lean cows ate up the 7 sleek, fat cows. The second dream was similar, and when Pharaoh heard about Joseph's ability to divine dreams from one of his servants, he sent for him, because Joseph was getting his interpretation through divine revelation. It was clear to Pharaoh that his was correct. Joseph said to Pharaoh, "The dreams of Pharaoh are the same. There will come 7 years of famine, and Egypt will forget all the abundance. They should gather all of the food produced during these good years coming up, and set aside grain under the supervision of Pharaoh to be used for food in the cities, and they should store it. This will be the land's food supply for the 7 years of famine that will come over the land of Egypt, so that the land will not perish as a result of the famine." Complete Jewish Bible. It might have been difficult for a different servant to present these interpretations, as it would be possible for Pharaoh to punish or kill him for being wrong. In the same portion, a cook was executed as easily as a cupbearer was promoted. Adonai was with Joseph, and his efforts were rewarded when Pharaoh put him in charge of the grain to be stored. Joseph continued to have faith in the revelations of Adonai. Pharaoh put him in charge of all Egypt, giving him the signet ring of Pharaoh. Joseph's interpretations came true, and eventually Joseph's father and brothers heard about the grain in Egypt, which they needed to survive. They came with gifts and were brought in to eat with Joseph and the Egyptians. But when they left, Joseph sent for them to be returned, accusing them of stealing. For the rest of the story, one must look to next week's Parsha. Haftarah. In Malachim Alef, 1 Kings, the story is told of King Shlomo, Solomon, who is blessed by Adonai for his trust and his request for wisdom. He was successful, and there has been no one as wise since. The story is told of the 2 women who came to him with a child that one accused the other of stealing from her while her child died. He offered to cut the child in half so each would get half. The real mother said she would rather the other take it rather than have it die. King Shlomo gave the child to her when all could see that one who cared more for the child was the real mother. Shlomo was blessed for being righteous and asking for this ability. His actions represented his faith in Adonai. Berit Hadashah. In this suggested portion, we learn about what happened when Joseph's family returned to Egypt after his brothers being sent home by Joseph, who had accused them of stealing. He forgave them for their wickedness to him. There is more that we will see in next week's Parsha. Joseph's father came to Egypt, and we read in Acts that there was Yaakov and all his relatives, 75 people. There he, Israel, died, as did our other ancestors. Forgiveness, as always, is the theme in the New Testament, Berit Hadashah. Next week we will learn this part of the story in more depth. Conclusions. Last week we learned that most of Joseph's brothers tried to kill him while only one protested. But then they sold him instead. After being protected by Adonai, he continued to have faith in the revelations given by Adonai and became the one that his brothers would bow down to. Instead of hate, he returned life, a reflection of divine redemption. In the first century, the believers saw this and understood the forgiveness of Messiah Yeshua and his sacrifice greater than that of Yosef. Shavua Tov and Shabbat Shalom.